Hello guys, it's time for the last Terran openings video. We're going to take a closer look at the TVP matchup. In contrast to the TVZ matchup, you can check the previous video, the TVP matchup has potential for both sides to do damage early on and slow down their opponent. Even though some can argue that Protoss do have more opportunities and easier time to hide them, while, for example, proxying their buildings, denying scout, since you can do a proxy pylon anywhere on the map and add a specific tech building, let's say Twilight and then Dark Shrine, it is very hard to scout that, especially on a larger map. Also, Protosses do have more scouting tools early on, like adepts, hallucinations, observers, oracles, phoenixes. Terran essentially relies on a Reaper and a lucky scan at the right moment. In a macro game, the first battle is most commonly held in front of a Protoss third base. That's when Terran does its 2-base timing. And if the Terran could break through the defense and deal some critical damage to the third, either the probes kill the nexus and so on, he can snowball from there and win the game through having an advantage. The opposite could also occur when the Protoss handles the first attack pretty nicely and has the economic lead by having that faster third and the faster saturation. So playing from a disadvantage, it's hard for like any player. This is basically shown in the most high level games, this meta, and you can see it in like tournaments or ladder. In this part, I'm gonna walk you through how to defend some kind of proxy on one base. We're gonna scout at 18. And if we see no nexus, we are gonna cancel our plan on going for a base here and instead build it here. So in this case, I'm just going for normal racks, gas, and I'm preparing my ACV for a base. I'm almost getting enough resources, but then I see there is no nexus. So if you see this, don't go for a nexus here and instead just build it in the main base. That's the safest option. Now here you can check if there is a gateway or not, and if there is no gateway, then you immediately should go for a bunker and make marines. Skip the reactor and just get marines one at a time. Here I'm gonna get a depot and I'm gonna be slightly supply blocked, but that's okay, like we need a bunker as soon as possible. In this case not really, because there is a gateway here, but sometimes there is a max pack style which is the two gateways, like one gateway here and one gateway here. Like there are a lot of variations you can do, like 2 proxy gateways, 1 gateway at home, like, and some other proxy or whatever. That's why you go for a bunker, marines, and with the Reaper you just check around. If you're lucky and see the building that is proxied, you can react accordingly. It can be free gates, like it can be Robo, double Robo, it can be Stargate, or it can be Twilight DT. So whatever it is, we want the factory as soon as possible and then a starport as soon as possible. From the factory we're gonna get 1 tank, and then you can get a mine as well. So 1 mine to counter an oracle, and then a starport Vikings as soon as possible. From the factory, after the mine is done, you can make a tech lab and start tank production. If you don't see the tech building, the safest option is to get a tank here and a starport. we're still gonna get enough marines here, so you go up to like 4. And then we're gonna start the reactor. So if it's a proxy Stargate, you should scout around your like edges here. So if it's a Stargate, you're gonna see it most likely. And if you don't see it, you still have like enough marines. Like an oracle should show up around now. And you have like a bunker and 4 marines, so you should be able to deal with the oracle. But if it's not an oracle, we still have a ramp here, full wall. We're getting a tank, and soon we're gonna get a Viking. Now, if it's Stargate with Tempest Rush, what you want is to switch the Starport with the barracks and get a lot of Vikings, so up to 6 or 8 Vikings, so you can start two-shotting the Tempest even with batteries, healing the Tempest. That's very important to get mass Viking production, and maybe some mines or some cyclones. Mines are better because they're cheaper. And you have to also be patient, like just get enough Vikings that will beat the Tempest. If it's a Robo Immortal, what you want is 1 Viking or 2 Vikings, a couple of tanks, and like a bunker here maybe. So a tank here will cover most of your area here. The Viking here and like here. So your base is safe. Like 2 tanks, 1 tank here, 1 tank here, and all your buildings are kind of safe. If it's DTs, what you want is to get like engineering bay about now, so you can get a turret and also save a scan. So right now I'm gonna have close to 50 energy, so we're gonna save this for a potential DT. Here I'm gonna show you how to handle a cannon rush. We're gonna play pretty normal here, get a supply depot. We just started our barracks, but then we see a probe. Now, of course, this is maybe a mistake by my opponent. What he should have done is go through here and place down a pylon here so I cannot see it. But here, yeah, I just see the probe, and now he starts the pylon. So immediately after I see the probe, I just go through the SCV. And after I see the pylon, I just block where the cannons can potentially be placed. So what he wants is to place down a cannon like here, and then block it with like pylons, so it's hard to kill. And also he starts a pylon here, so he wants a cannon here. Now just rally SCVs around here to block the cannon, and also follow the probe with one of your SCVs. Now he just doesn't have an opportunity to place down a cannon because my SCVs are basically blocking the location. Now I have 2 SCVs attacking this probe, and I have an SCV blocking here. So also he's on clock because my barracks is finishing, so I'm gonna get a marine pretty soon. And if your barracks is finished like this and he hasn't started a cannon, you basically have won the game already, because he just doesn't have time for the cannons to finish. 3 SCVs are enough to kill a cannon, like depending on when it started. Like if you immediately can attack with 3 SCVs, yeah, then you can kill it with only 3 SCVs. Now here I do have enough, like I have 3 and 3, so these cannons are just dead, because I'm gonna get a marine soon as well. And basically that's how you handle cannon rush in a clean way. Okay, so we learned about the Protoss cheeses. Now it's time to do one cheese as a Terran. So here I'm gonna show you Proxy Starport for Hellion drop. And the idea is that the starport is closer, so you just buy like 30 seconds or so, like depending on the map how big it is. So your Hellions are just slightly quicker, but that can be very, very hard for the Protoss to handle. Like basically they should have one less warping round, so that can be big. We open with gas first, get a barracks, do the normal scout. So up to this it's pretty normal. We're gonna expand. Let me open production. There we go. So pretty standard here. I'm gonna ignore what I'm scouting here since it's practice game, so don't worry about this. Also the SCV, try to like save it, because this SCV we're gonna use to proxy with.
Command center upgrade
so
complete.
We get our Reaper. We have started our command center. After the Reaper, immediately a reactor. Start the factory and also like a supply depot. After the factory, start the second gas as well. Now, the factory is done, so we start a Starport immediately. And Hellions. Like we're gonna go up to 4 Hellions. With these Hellions, you can try and snipe off an adept if it's on the map, and also a Stalker with the Reaper. But try to, like after those Hellions are done, the 3rd and the 4th, just go straight to the Starport and start the medevac as soon as possible. Now, switch the factory with the barracks and start a tank. Marines and a bunker. So, in this case, if the Protoss is aggressive, what you want to do is just defend on the ramp while your tank is building, and also make maybe a bunker. Normally the Protoss will play like this build is good if the Protoss is play standard, so you have to be careful and get the confirmation with the Reaper and the SCV. If it's some kind of cheese, then don't go for this build. Like this build can it's bad against Stargate plate as well. So if you see a Stargate, don't go for this. But still, you can do some damage with it, but be careful. Like Phoenixes counter this pretty well. Now, also, if you still go for this against Stargate, lift the Starport immediately and go to your base. In this case, I'm gonna go for a Raven. It's good against Robo play or Twilight play, since with the Raven we can harass and also it's pretty useful. Now after this, in your base, go for a second tank, add 2 more barracks, and after the Raven is done, lift your Starport and go here. So basically this is the build.
Additional supply depots.
You can go up to only 1 tank or 2 tanks, like it's not as important. If you're getting all in, then a 3rd tank is necessary, maybe even a 4th. In this case, if it's a macro game, just go for 1 or 2 tanks. Then make tech labs, start your upgrades, get +1. And from here, you can easily transition into a macro game. We even have enough money to start a 3rd base if we want. And that's it. I hope you like this build. It can definitely put you far ahead in this matchup. And that's it for the video. Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and comment. And if you're interested in watching live games, you can check out my stream at WonderSC2 on Twitch. And if you want to get coached, you can check out my link below at Gamers Unsay.